Holy, 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 Alleluia. Holy Jesus, praise Jesus, Alleluia.
There we are.
Hello. I
I
just
don't
sent,
know. I don't know if you just got my text.
I did,
There
yeah.
we are. Yeah,
Just a
I
second
thought,
after I sent the link.
oh, okay. I thought, well, I want as much time as possible with you.
Oh, good.
So good
Not a
videos.
whole lot of activity. I have like barely a page of journal for 4 days. So I was like, wow, that's fascinating.
Huh. Um, do you think it's kind of the calm before? Now that sounds horrible. That's not a prediction.
Maybe. I mean, because I've got all those guardians that have presented and they're not filling out their stories yet, but I think it's mainly because I asked them, I said, and like the videos for Melissa's channel are winding down. I'm still about 6 or 8 weeks ahead, but I'm like I'm uninspired to do any more signs and symbols, and I'm kind of uninspired to do the controller series because you were talking about I think a month or two ago, but you didn't know as much about masonry as you like. So I thought, oh, I'll do the thing on
Oh,
masonry.
and by the way, the sound effects, that's really a nice one. Instead of the dripping. The dripping was fine because I caught on.
Oh,
It,
no, I know, but you know what? Melissa got feedback from people on her channel, hated it. They thought they were in the experiment. And I said, well, that's just tough titty because I thought it was brilliant. And then I copied it from one of Melissa's before I even did the signs and symbols. She had used it as a transition for something.
yeah,
And I thought, oh, I love that. And I had it in my software, so I used it.
yeah.
People get plugged in by that, but I loved it. Um, Now, is that light behind me blinding or distracting or anything?
Um, no, unless you want to shift to your left just a little bit. Oh
Oh,
yeah,
the
you
laptop, yeah. So I think that's
move it
why.
back the other way just a wee bit. Perfect. Spot
Okay,
on.
good. So I think that could be it, but yeah, I know there's a lot more that's gonna come because,
That blank 2 years.
well, yeah, and well, like, I know that, like Sailor, he's not just one part, he's a guardian for a bunch, and I probably have what,
That's right. The
50 or
female.
70 parts that need
That's
to fill in their little subparts or whatever I'm going to call them there, because they're the guardian of a group of them. So I know that that's coming, but it's like they've agreed to give me this time.
No, that's right. And that's good.
So,
That way, if there's a YouTube link, as I'm directing people your way, and I tell you, Anna,
I have 30 subscribers on Rumble now. I was like, oh my goodness, and like
you
I think
right. And
20
if
on
somebody's going to be a
Bitchute.
subscriber, you know they're a survivor
They're interested, yeah.
for some reason, right? And
I just can't figure out where all these 30 people came from, except from your site, from you recommending it all those months ago. I was like, wow.
I still, so I'm sending out to the clients that I have and getting. So you're now my go-to person.
Okay, good.
That's true, right? And so,
30 subscribers.
so
But I
for
figure, if I get to 100 and never grows, that's fine. It's 100 people that are healing, or
yeah,
20 or two. I don't care. That's the whole point, is heal. So,
no, I can tell. As a matter of fact, one particular gal, she was absolutely blocked, and she knew it. And all of a sudden, there was something different about the last session where I could, you could see this part's trying to, I mean, she says, I got to stop. She says, it's like I'm starting to go away, right? So she's getting pulled and another part's coming out.
oh wow.
that was directly because of she's watching you vent and she's been so fearful.
Is she doing it herself though?
No, not yet. She's too right.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so that's the effect you're having on people. So you're an asset to me in a good way,
Well,
right?
good. I'm glad because I'll tell you, I must watch my TED Talks every day. I'll pop on one from somewhere, from some time frame, and I can feel my parts going, yeah,
There we
yeah.
go. Yeah, that's
There,
wonderful.
and I'm just watching it, and I'm like, and they're like, I remember hitting that thing. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
there you go. That's right.
And so they're venting through, like you said, the
Vicarious.
vicariousness.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I'm like, wow, that's mind blowing. Like
Well,
on
there I am.
election
Even like
night,
even last night, I'm under the red light and I got your most recent venting one on. So I'm not watching, I'm just listening to it. Thump, thump. I'm going, yeah. Just the sound
because
effect.
you would put yourself in that place.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm gonna talk about that in my next recording that
Oh, and the one you did about venting on the bed, invaluable, because I also have another gal. She's in an apartment. And so for her to be able to say, oh, okay, that's an, so that one was invaluable as well.
I would think though in an apartment might get scary because you can't really, if you start venting and yelling, you're gonna have your
Right. Well, it's kind
neighbors.
of it's the best she's got. So it's
But
kind of
yeah, whack the bed.
doesn't
It gets
clench
out
teeth
that way.
and then goes at some point in time go scream in the vehicle. But
Or in your pillow in your bed. Get on your bed face down and have a tantrum and scream into the mattress. So I thought I should probably do another bed one because I
I
rewatched
think
them.
that think about the person in the in an apartment like that because that would be really helpful.
Yeah, yeah, I that's crossed my mind. And I will
Yeah,
say I to compare the two, I prefer Ted because you can get your whole body action
that's
going.
right. There's nothing compared to that. That's right.
But I'm like, well, other people don't have that luxury. I said, granted, I'm still in a pretty tight neighborhood. My neighbors are 20 feet, either direction. But they don't even care. No, no one says boo anymore. So, but yeah, I thought, what about those people in apartments and stuff?
So yeah,
And I have rewritten that prayer. I eliminated where it said, please forgive. I said, please judge.
perfect.
I just rever it. And there's one part during that prayer where it says, God, please judge something, something. Because I was searching for what word can I replace that with. And when I read that in there, oh, judge is perfect. And there's even a line where it says, please forgive the sins I did, as a child, blah, blah, blah. And I replaced judge in there. And I thought, well, that's okay. God can judge me because I wasn't a willing participant. And even in my brainwashed, conditioned state where I was, embracing it and doing it, God's gonna know that I was made to be that way. So yeah, judge me. I
Well,
got
I
nothing
don't
to
you
hide
or
here.
give yourself permission just to take that out
Yeah, there's a part that it's
because
like
that may be confusing for someone
for
if they
other people. Okay, I'll look
you've
at
got a
it
more
maybe.
sophisticated understanding.
Well, and then another part where it
Or
says,
maybe just write your begin to think in terms of
write my
writing your own.
own. I know.
Absolutely.
And
Why not?
so that'll be on my next talk as well.
Seriously, Diane, that's going to be great therapy for you. And, who's to say that prayer is the only prayer that on the corners
I
of the mind?
know, I know. I just love it because it encompasses everything, every
Well,
aspect. I
I
never
think we're,
thought of every angle she thought of, but I'm like, she's a pastor's wife and they, are against SRA and talk and heal and have a whole thing about it. I get that. But I am surprised that she had so much of the forgiveness part stuff in
okay.
there.
Well, you know what? Maybe
And
that,
and then, and then there's another line where it says, please forgive what has been done in the surrounding areas, and we ask you to cleanse our air, water, and ground. And I thought, well, I can't really put judge in there. And I said, please correct what has been done in the surrounding areas.
There you go.
So yeah, I do need to find my own. And I also know that you're not supposed to say the exact same prayer all the time every day. Because it becomes
Well, that's the only, if it becomes rote or mindless,
so
then that,
it needs to be more genuine and spontaneous, but I love that prayer because it encompassed so much that I had never thought about.
yeah.
That's why I like it.
You know
But
what's
you're right.
interesting?
And I was asking myself all these months as I've been reading this and I've been knowing, well, yeah, I want God. I would say, please forgive. In my mind, I would be saying, no, hurt them.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to talk about that in my journal and say, I'm sorry. But I realized it was the part of me that wanted to, was the robotic, follow the rules. Uh, she's a pastor's wife, so don't change her words. And I was like, I was talking to the parts going, well, we're the ones saying it, and God's hearing us. It has to be genuine and from us. This was just a framework to get us started. So
Right. And a pastor's wife is just, Jimmy Hinton's mother was a pastor's wife for
I
25.
know. And I know these people aren't evil or anything, but I thought, they still have that mentality of forgive. And so, yeah, I agree with you on that whole
You
thing.
know, what would be interesting as you're thinking about doing your own website and
Hmm.
having, it's a good thing, right? Having merchandise available, what people can, because I think that would be wonderful if you started to have stuff that you publish on there. Think in terms of, how they have like a year devotional. So that might be interesting for you to have almost like not so much a coffee table book, but I'm just looking around here.
I
You
mean, in
can find
terms of survivor stuff or
absolutely. So
praying.
it would
Oh,
be
okay.
it's a devotional for survivors, and you would have January through December, so they could look up
Okay,
the day.
January is the month we focus
And
on.
so you could have maybe an opening little prayer and a thought, and then some prompt questions for them for that
Um,
day.
okay, you're making me work now.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, that's
But what
okay.
did I say?
Yeah,
So
I
what?
never even thought of it. My computer
And
ought
I
to
mean,
be
you've got
arriving in the
so you've
next few
got so
days.
much material, anyways. But even thinking that's interesting. Even thinking in terms of almost like the stages of therapy. So you're going to walk them through in the span of.
Yeah, yeah. See, I want to rewatch your the stages of therapy thing because I'm talking to people who are already beyond some of those stages, and I'm like, gotta approach it from the point of view of the people stuck at the well, I'm not
Although I
multi.
tell you what, Diana, very few people, in my estimation, very few are in the latter stages. Very, very few.
Am I?
Yes.
Okay. Even
Yes.
though I have really 5 years worth
No,
of
because
parts
I'll tell
in
you
this
what, in
course.
that latter stage, it's exactly what you're describing. All of a sudden, you and the parts are cooperating. I
Yeah,
mean,
I've been like really thankful to them.
there's that flow. So you're in that latter stage, and so you all as a team, you're more in control. So you have that flow state.
And they're the guardians that I'm interacting
Okay,
with.
there we
It's
go.
it's
So
the
that's
little
really
dudes
down.
underneath that are the ones that get triggered and stuff.
That's right.
So,
So you're in that latter state.
oh, so
Uh,
I'm
very
sorry.
few, very few have been able to, very few have made it into the middle stage because they really have to get to the point exactly where the key is embracing the parts, embracing the idea that, okay, there are parts and we're working together. So until
Embrace the suck of it. Yeah, because it
and it, and
I mean
it's
I'm
tough.
blown away that I'm not I just remember forgot. My goodness, what 9 months solid. It was like every 2 or 3 days, another big memory with an hour and a half of crying and body memories
That's that middle
flying
stage.
all over the place
That's
and
right. That's right.
anxiety and bouncing off the walls. And I'm like, I'm not there anymore. I'm like, wow, well, this is cool.
Okay, so that's that
Like
the bulk of the work.
who knows if it's not going to come back and there's more crap going on, but
Well, but you know the process. So just from my perspective just now, very few make it, and you know the work that it takes. Very few are able to get to the touch, the latter stage. You're
Yeah.
there. And so the bulk of the people actually, this is my own sense, 60% are stuck in the beginning,
Well, and
30% are in the middle.
and I think about all these people that Emma has interviewed, and I think about all the people that have written their books, Kathy O'Brien, and all these people. Because I finally watched a Kathy O'Brien video
I am.
like 3 weeks ago. She's like the goddess of SRA and exposure from, I don't know, 20 or 30 years ago. She was in that group of people back then. But for every single one of these people, and Asia Rain, she's got, some good, she had a good story, good stuff. And just all these people, I'm like, none of you have practical steps to do.
That's
You
right.
recommend how to handle your anxiety, what to do, meditate. If you find yourself laying in bed, not wanting to get up and depressed, make yourself get up and go do something. Well, if you're in that depressed state, you're not going to make yourself get up and go do something. So I'm like, that's what my takeaway with every single one of them, even the books I've read of some people, there's no practical, hardcore physical tools. Now, granted, Excel's not a physical tool, but for me, it's a, I don't know, it's practical. You just sit down and fill out worksheets. Check the box, okay, pothead, do you have issues with this or that or this or that or this or that? And as you just sit there and focus on that one part and go through the list, I hear little whispers in my head. Well, yeah, I don't like body blonde. Oh, by the way, this happened and that's why my feet hurt. Or they'll tell me my pinky finger, that's why my our pinky finger is jacked up because this happened. And I'm like, oh, but I would have never got that if I
Oh,
hadn't checked in
okay.
with them,
I got an interesting idea.
you
Okay.
know?
If you do something like the
It's a
360,
lot of mental energy when you're doing it
absolutely.
too.
Okay. If you were to do the idea of a 365-day journal or a kind of a workbook journal type of thing, you then could do for your site for a member section. So they're paying, which they deserve. I mean, you deserve it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
But still, you
my
could do,
brain's not even there.
okay, sorry.
But yeah.
Then you could do an accompanying segment where
Oh, like
you
a little video
where
that
you
goes,
talk about for January 1st. They can click on that and you're describing, and you could even walk them through,
oh,
which
the
would then
check.
be the author is actually reading it if they wanted to. So in the car, they're going through. So it's almost like a little mini
Oh, it
podcast.
could be like an audiobook instructions or
So
whatever.
that's, and you can give your thoughts. That's a very interesting thought. So here's the book, and for a membership, they have access to your just for that one resource.
Okay.
And then it also question and answers they could submit. And so for the result,
But yeah, the idea is to
there you
not
go.
speed through it, but just to keep the triggering
That's right.
process moving along. And yeah, do you want to be doing this for 20 years or two?
There you go. But what an invaluable thing. Okay, so let's say a survivor gets your journal, but it's still they're stuck or they're still stuck in bed that day and they've got your journal. To think that they could go and click on you for January 1st
Oh
and
yeah, that's cute.
right. And
Or
so
or
so you're
even,
reading.
are you feeling sad and depressed today?
There you
Here's
go. So you're
here's
actually
three
walking
things you
them
can
through.
do. Watch my TED video
There you go.
and then start, whatever. But that's what I would recommend for a depressed person is do a TED talk
There you go.
because it's
But
it's
but you
just
could work through each.
overwhelming
But
sadness.
you could work through each day. So let's say they're
And
on.
they don't have to get out of bed. They can just fucking hit the bed.
There we go. But to be able then, even if they're driving, let's say they didn't have a chance to sit down that day, but they still want to keep up, they just put you on, you know, April 17th or whatever, and there
Okay.
you are, and you're walking your way. So another, I don't
I'm
want to,
storing it away. My my puzzle you know, Penny and
there's a lot, Diane,
Ivy
really, what
storing it
you,
away, going, "Ooh, yeah, those are good ideas."
so what you, again, what you've noticed and you've read more widely in the, with the different authors than I have. Um, so you're getting a sense, and I think your assessment is accurate, that of all the material out there, maybe
I mean,
give,
they're more encouraging and they're supportive, and
right,
it's like having a big sister with their arm around your son's shoulder saying, "You can do this," but they don't really say do X, Y, and Z.
there you go.
And I'm like, well, great. Thanks for the pat on the back, but that doesn't do anything for me.
Right. So maybe begin to give yourself permission to risk believing that because you've been doing the hard work, you have what doesn't exist out there, what people need.
Well, thanks. Good. I'm glad. I guess that's my
Okay, so
purpose.
right on your list of to-dos, think in terms of the website, think in, oh, look at I've piled on stuff for you,
Yeah,
but
no, that's fine. I mean, because maybe that's, you know, that's part of this break I'm getting is to get ready for a next stage. Because like I was blown away to discover, you know, that incident with Vance where he vomited my grandma's face and then Jesus, you know, took over. I was blown away to find that there were 30 parts, 35 parts, however many there were. And at this point, I can't even tell. I know that they have series of names that all starts with I's or T's or W's because that's how they wanted to do it. But I couldn't list them out to you right now the same way I could list out the Guardians. So I know that's my next phase is the Guardians are going to fill in the blanks. But yeah, I got a nice break right. So so
as
I
you were
will
describing it, Diana, as you were describing that, again, I tend to, just how I'm wired, my personality, I tend to think globally in terms of strategy and, for the perps, what are they? And again, it's mind-boggling. And so I think I probably represent, I'm a fairly good representative of the average person out there that's gone
yeah,
to church all their
yeah.
life, even a therapist, and okay.
You have your expertise in the psychop or the predators and then the psyche of the victim, which I think is great.
It's kind of a good, right? It helps.
Yeah.
But to think that then again, like the deep state and all of what we've been talking about, not so much. Well, yeah, but to think that then the dirty little secret on the average person in the general public, you know, how much they don't know, but especially somebody like me as a therapist. But to think that not only didn't we understand, we were never told. As a matter of fact, I spoke to a psych nurse practitioner who retired after 35 years from the VA, very involved. She had never heard of Operation Paperclip
Yeah, I know.
and
I
had
know.
never heard of MK Ultra. Well, that was like me. So I'm filling her in, but I was doing so in such a way that by the time I'm finished with it, she's just staring like we've been lied to by
Hmm.
omission, meaning people, right?
Intentionally from the top down.
So I
From the
think that's where
top
this,
down.
I think that's where the perps that have zeroed in on me, I think they're starting. It's
Yeah,
like, oh,
because you're
yeah,
gonna blow the lid on
gonna
it.
expose
Yeah.
this thing. But to think that then behind the scenes, all throughout society, that masonry, Freemasonry, has been in operation, and it's basically just
Worldwide.
said, it's been the perfect cover for pedophiles and a screening process so that by the time you've got it's Jeffrey Epstein to an nth degree, but even more than that, right? So by the time you've screened and you've got so much material and blackmail, but by that time they're all in, so they don't care about the blackmail, that then they can place them in the various positions.
Yes,
So
yes.
that it's just surreal to
I
think
guess
that
it's a sifting ground to figure out who's psychopathic enough to join
sure,
them at the top. And if you have a qualm of a conscience or, whatever, they test you to find that out. And if they see, oh, well, their conscience is holding them back, they'll keep you at that level. They'll never let you up.
that's a tremendous part of the message, Diana, to share. And then when I do my little part, right? Once somebody can realize, wait a second, you mean behind the scenes, this whole thing has been a very organized
Well, Alan calls it, and
psychopath.
also another author calls it the world revolutionary movement. And Alan talked about this for, the 20 years I did his shows. And I would always say in the back of my mind, what is this world revolutionary movement? I just thought it was like a secular whatever. And I'm realizing, no, when I read, a series of books. I forget the author's name. I'll have to put it in here. He breaks it, William Guy Carr. The name of the book is Satan, Prince of this World, Prince of the World, something like that. William Guy Carr. He breaks it down. What is this world revolutionary movement? And he takes it back to when Satan fell. It was Satan's job to revolutionize the world. And everybody thinks the word revolution, oh, it's good. It changes the world. It makes it better. No, this is about, what is revolution? It's turning it, it's switching it, making upside down, right side up, and right is wrong and wrong is right. That's the revolution that Satan wants to do. And William Guy Carr really breaks it down. But that's the world revolutionary movement, and starting from the fall of Satan and just taking God's creation and turning it and twisting it and getting it to where Satan wants it to be. And that's done through human beings. And you have to twist and turn and contort those humans and get them in groups, work together, and all of that, the powers of principalities and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what it is. And that's what the top layer of our world is. It's Satan's minions, and whoever can be the most ruthless and, nasty and horrible gets the crown.
And it makes sense then that, and sometimes we're
And
different.
it's hard to think of it that way, but you
It's really,
you'll never get there if you're stuck watching TV, and you got to break out of your conditioning. And I don't mean just in terms of abuse, but in terms of your world view.
that's
That's the difference.
right. And the idea that, I mean, the one thing that Satan's always fought against is um, death, right? Because the wages of sin is death. So Satan's goal is to prove God to be a liar. Okay, so and like he's the ultimate psychopath, so he wants to hurt God and prove him to be a liar. How do you hurt God? You go after that which God cares most about. So you're
What
going
he
to harm
loves. Yeah.
people and therefore and creation. So you're going to do all that.
You destroy beauty, you destroy,
Yeah.
the culture, you destroy everything. Yeah. Yeah.
And he's created then the fountain of youth, which is the culmination, the two things that come together. You can prove God to be a liar because the wages of sin then isn't death, and you're harming the most innocent. That is adrenochrome. That is the fountain of youth. And therefore, you also are you're replacing the body parts so they don't get old from harmed victims. So
Hmm.
adrenochrome represents the ultimate in the fountain of youth, that you take this, you'll never die, along with then the transhumanism kind of stuff. Um, So it's his little trophy from doing the most heinous stuff against God, against, harming kids. So they've got their adrenochrome, which allows them to, well, I don't know what it does to lifespan, but it certainly allows them to look youthful. And
Well,
what happens
yeah,
if they don't have it?
yeah. And well, not just that, but like,
And then they're harvesting organs, so it's by
yeah, and
meal they can live forever, then theoretically, and prove
yeah,
God.
and add to it, the higher up you are, you get the better
Right?
actual
That's right.
medical, the
That's right.
secular medical treatments that save your life.
That's right.
Alan used to always talk about, Henry Kissinger trotting around the globe at 95 years old. He's like, why isn't he wearing glasses? Why doesn't he have a cane? Why this? Because there's a higher level of medicine for those at the top, and they reserve the crap stuff for us down below. So, yeah, I always think about that, those three levels of reality. And that top level of reality is I intertwined and interconnected with Satanism, along with the secular best. You know what I mean? Whatever
Which then
the
that's
world
what
best.
the Nazi regime was exactly that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess I'll just get into this
You're educating me. You're
one
educating.
one little. Oh shoot! I guess I should share this one journal. But I'm really excited about I think I finished the graph with all this stuff on it. So that was exciting. The part said, well, okay, we gave you 3 days of doing Alan stuff. You got to spend a day on us. So I spent the day upgrading the graphs. So the fifth, 3 days ago, I did baptisms. And actually, I want to do this because this was the order that they came in, which I thought was interesting. So we got Carrie Tulan Valley, the three little girls, witches that were spinning and had, the demons do their thing. Turk. Oh, it's Yuri. Sorry, dude. Then when I
What?
make a mistake, I say to them, I'm sorry. Or I missed a page. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I apologize to them.
Now
Okay.
wait. What
Yuki,
is?
Yuri.
There
Okay.
we go. There we go.
So Carrie Tulan Valley, remember they were the
That's
witchcraft.
interesting, Diana. The fact you had Turk, because that's so far off from Yuri, I'm wondering if, so just keep that in mind. There may be something about that word, maybe
Okay.
that's a name, because how do you get Turk out of Yuri? So that's interesting that maybe
I
a
just
part,
wrote
just
it
like
down. So,
a
okay.
part may have just inserted that. That's interesting.
Well, yeah, and I've noticed sometimes the dictation errors, I think might be me actually saying that error, what I think is an error, but it's a
There you
part saying it. So you're right, yeah. So these three girls, remember how they were tied to the three MK Ultra guys?
go. Yeah.
So these three wanted to go, because here's what happens is I'll sit down and say, okay, parts puddle, does anybody have anything they want to do? Does anybody want to be baptized? And they'll be quiet for a little while, and all of a sudden I'll hear something like, I do. And I'm like searching my brain. Okay, who are you? Who's talking to me? What's happening? And they'll take 10 or 15 or 30 seconds. I'm like, are you sure? You got to tell me who you are, because otherwise you're just this random thing floating around in the air, and I don't know how to baptize you. And it's like I can feel them like run forward. They say,
Wow.
it's me, I'm Carrie, Carrie, Carrie. And then I have to go, okay, Carrie, who are you? What was your issue? What was your incident? Okay. And then they'll approach Jesus and say their thing. And generally, by the time that first one's talking to Jesus, then I'll start to have a lineup. The
Oh,
second one comes, and then the third. So these three came and did their thing. And then
wow.
there was a pause. I'm like, okay, is that it? Nobody else? Big pause. And then I'm like, and then I'll hear like kind of a malish, oh no, here I am. And then a lineup will happen again. So then these three guys came. These were the MK Ultra that mirrored the satanic programming.
Mhm,
So I thought,
mhm.
oh, that's fascinating, the six of you. And then Tanya and Connor, who were part of the MK Ultra programming,
Yeah.
got in line. I was like, okay. And then after it was all said and done, big long pause, probably a minute or two. I went and laid down in bed, and all of a sudden, Caroline says, "Well, can you do me? I know you're not in your chair anymore." And I'm like, "Yeah, I can do it laying down. It's no problem." Because I was thinking the other day that her sub parts all got baptized, and when I recorded them, I noticed, well, Caroline didn't even get baptized yet. And I thought, well, okay, if she's not ready, she's not ready. I don't care, whenever she's. And so I thought it was funny that it was a few days after her sub parts got baptized, she now wants to be. She doesn't want to be left out of the group. So I was like, okay. So they
Now, let's
come.
go back to that just for a second. That's really interesting. So you're going to be the resident expert. So I have a question, but meaning in a good way.
Mhm.
Um, because theoretically, like if someone had asked me the
I should
order,
probably put the dates on this thing that I record. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go on.
um, okay, so we have, so the Guardian then was
The
last.
last one. Yeah.
So that would be very interesting between
Said
you.
Sarah and Bev got baptized, but Caroline did not. Now,
So
granted, there's still four other parts.
okay, so this will be very interesting. This is going to be good for me to know. Is Caroline listening? My
Yeah,
guess is she.
yeah.
Okay, okay. So there we go. You guys are going to help me kind of with some more fine tuning of understanding. Okay, so I would have thought, like, if somebody asked me that question, here's how I would have responded. So you're going to clarify this experientially. So this is really good. I would have thought, as goes the outer part. So, the primary part, then the guardian, and then, so I would have assumed that it would have been the guardian that got baptized first, then the
It
others.
usually is. It
So it's
usually
very
is.
interesting. So my hunch is, and so Carolyn can give you the sense. So my hunch is there's something then that she was still holding on to. Now, let me qualify that statement. As far as her role, she's got to keep things together and make sure that
Yeah,
everything is
she was the one that had the bestiality rape at 3 years old.
okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So
just to
her,
refresh you.
for her to allow the other parts to come forward, the risk is you're going to be overwhelmed learning that, and you're going to feel the feelings and emotions and all that. So it's counterintuitive. So this is very, very good. What is it for her? So we have the parts. So you got all the details prior to her
From
finally being
her, yeah.
let down and let go. And this is sort of in a good way, right? She had to keep it together.
Yeah.
And so the fact that the parts, so her subparts, right, her parts, um, the fact that she is now coming forward after the parts, there's something very insightful about that because one would think it would the guardian, the gatekeepers of each of those subparts would have to finally be able to say, okay, you know what, I'm I'm relaxing, I'm okay, and here come
Yeah,
the other
that's
parts.
generally how it works. Yeah,
So
but in
what
this
is
case,
it?
it was the reverse.
Okay, so if you're sensing from her, if I were to ask her, what was it that finally allowed you? Because then my hunch is this: maybe she was still a little bit hesitant, a little bit cautious, a little bit
Yeah, as to where,
waiting for the other shoe to drop, something to where now she can finally relax. So, do you have a sense of even though the all the parts that make up that entire event came forward, she was still maybe what, waiting for the other shoe to drop or something?
I think I think she wanted to know that, okay, none of us are baptized, but you two want to be. I don't control you anymore. I'm not your guardian. You exist on your own as your own entity.
Oh, okay. So you can sense that.
Yeah, they have independence from one another. Now, granted, they'll still cling to each other because
Yeah,
that's, their sibling group or whatever you want to call
that's
it.
right. That's right.
But I think for her, she wanted to see how it would affect them first before she was willing to go there. Not that she was waiting for a shoe to drop, but just that, well, I'm still your guardian and you have
Right.
every right to make that choice. You have free will. I don't tell you what to do anymore. So I'm going to stand back and see how it goes for you.
Lest she would have to gather everybody together and because
Right.
that's
So
uh,
it's not that she tells them what to do
yeah,
anymore. She's not their
but to protect.
guardian anymore because they have become their own independent beings within the whole. Yes, they all experience the same incident, and she, wound up being the gatekeeper for it. But now that they've revealed they've got existence, they've got a new life, we've recorded your body issues at X, Y, and Z, they are independent of her. And they were like, well, I saw all those people get baptized and they just feel really awesome about it, and I want to do it. And so they did it, and I think she was just standing back going,
Kind of as in a
well, I
super
don't know.
kind of in a superintending role.
Not even that, just instead of being the coach to the team, they are all now team members. And there is no coach because they have their own independence. So she was just, yeah, you guys go do your thing and I'll watch you and see how you are afterwards. See, not even how you are afterwards, but what you're gonna experience. Because as each one has their moment under the water, talking to Jesus, then under the water, then talking to Jesus afterwards, they all have their own unique experience that is transformative. And I think Caroline just needed to, she could observe it with all the other people and all the other incidents, but they were not her babies, so to speak.
Okay, but is she still in
She just
terms of
wanted to see.
but in terms of relationship to those others, is it now on the same footing, so to speak, or is she still
No, yeah, they are all on the same footing now. She's no longer the guardian. They're all independent. Yeah, they defer to her because she was the guardian, but they don't, they're not, it's like being freed from prison. There's
yeah,
no more prison guard.
yeah.
So, okay, we leave the prison. Yeah, you left first and we hung out for a while, but now that we've joined you, we're all equal.
So was she hesitating? And that's not a good word, right? But it was, so she's kind of holding back. Was it primarily for herself, but also for herself and that other, let's say, group of 10? Just,
Or yeah, there's still a group of four, perhaps. Yeah. I think these two said, well, we're brave enough. We want to give it a shot. Farah came first. And then, so Farah was the one that popped her head up first. I'll make it bigger.
okay, there we go.
She was the ferret and Bev was the bluebird,
Right.
So yeah, Farah came first. Farah was she had the courage first. And then Bev followed her. And then probably 5 or 7 days later, Caroline followed them. So yeah, there's still a group of four. So perhaps Caroline is still guarding these four, but because these two had the, now that they're all independent, and Farrah said, hey, if I'm independent, I want to do this thing. And then Bev said, well, I will too. If you're that brave, I'll be that brave. Then, a week later, Caroline's, well, okay, you guys are fine. I've watched you for
Okay,
several
that makes it right.
seasons.
She can start to kind of let down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And then, these guys will probably follow. Yeah. And
Yes.
like
Yeah.
back to, the three, Carrie, Tula, and Val, was that? Yeah, these three, it was their second baptism. The ones that match Yuri, Sean, and Bert. It was also their second, and Tanya's second, and Connor's second. So on that day, after these three, these two girls, who is it? Yeah, so it started off with six people who had already been baptized. No, eight people who had already been baptized, wanted to be baptized a second time. Then all of a sudden, Caroline said, well, I'll come along. I mean, you're not just doing it, and you guys are the gatekeepers for the witchcraft and the gatekeepers for all of MK Ultra. You're
Uh,
the you're the suicide, insanity, sabotage. These six right here control the life and death of us. And they're getting baptized a
Diana,
second.
that's so the way you just described that, that was, do you have that broken out um, or somehow boxed? That because that'll be,
I used to, yeah.
I'd,
It's in my
I'd recommend,
PowerPoint under their pages that they are a match. Here's the SRA suicide,
there
insanity,
you go.
sabotage, and then the MK Ultra suicide, insanity, sabotage. The three of them interconnect because that's what the MK Ultra did. So yeah, it was just really interesting. And I think right as I realize now instead of just putting an X there, I'm going to put a date.
Okay.
So I can see if there's long periods of time or short periods of time or who came before or after who,
And if you
etc.
when you get your new computer, if that's what and if you're thinking about doing a Mac or something, there's got to be a program that allows a 3D kind of
I know,
um
I know, I know.
but just like an architect kind of a program. That would be very interesting because I guess with an architect, you could create a room and then a house with mobile. So, okay, I'm giving
Yeah.
you more work. What's I going with that? Anyway, I just think it's the way you now are able to describe it. It's going to be so helpful.
Yeah, because before these guys revealed themselves, it was just Caroline.
That's right. That's right.
And then, okay, we got six parts that she protected. And so when they got put on here and became, and this was like they revealed maybe a month or 6 weeks ago,
And Diana, this is what nobody
they're
knows.
now independent units. They're not under her wing.
There you go. They're starting to become equal in terms of their right.
But
They're
yeah, they're independent sovereign
coming into
beings.
their own. Um,
Yeah, each one, these two could have spent more time, talking to the John part in my mind about the Bible, and these two might have, been more present while I was reading the Bible,
there you go.
as to where these four were not too interested. Or Caroline may not have been interested, but these two were listening. And so they were like, yeah, I'm ready to be baptized. And they didn't have to ask her permission,
Right.
nor did she say, you need to go to school and focus on X, Y, and Z. They just got to choose whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. Like these guys might be focusing on, because this is health related issues, they might be listening to Alan Watt more than they listen to John. as to where these two were like, we had the mark of the beast and all that shit. We're more interested in the religious side of things. And
That's
these guys are like, well, no, we had medical shit going on, so we're more interested in secular information. So it just depends, and they don't tell me what they're studying or when. I just say, you have full access to my knowledge. Go for it. And I don't keep track of it or tell them or assign them. They just go where their spirit guides them.
Mhm.
So it just, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, these two are saying, yeah, we're more interested in the spiritual side of things, and these guys are more
You need to
interested.
know, can you add another little box or something? Because that, how invaluable for survivors to know what you just said. Because that really is then giving them full, it's really honoring each part. And again, this is the benefit of the work you've done.
Yeah, and what they'll do is they'll just access, like I said, they free reign to any and all information in my mind. So these two are probably present with me while I'm reading the Bible, as to where these four were more interested in listening to Alan Watt talk, or whatever, or yeah. So now that I think of it, yeah, because these guys were the ones dealing with medical stuff,
Yeah.
but these three were the ones dealing with spiritual stuff. So I should probably put, because um yeah, that's just kind of the vibe I'm getting right now. And Caroline, I think, was just stepping back and observing how these guys developed. Because she was a part of the spiritual abuse.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh, well, these guys are really thriving now and they're happy. I think I want a little bit of that juju myself. You know, Not juju, but
That's perfect. Okay, here's a thought, and you just um so let's
so
say for
when
yeah,
these four parts get answered, what they need answered in terms of why were we treated so badly medically, whatever those questions might be, or why did mom allow it, or why did this, or maybe they're still just pissed off and they haven't gotten enough TED out. They're just not at this place yet. They're more interested in learning of why was my experience the way it was, as to where these guys know.
do you want to actually overlay with a different color what you're doing right now? I don't know how you want to do that, but very interesting. So it's just keep going. You're doing a great.
So
This
it's
is
just, as we're talking, I never thought about it, but I just noticed it was interesting that these two guys got baptized before the Guardian. And I thought, it doesn't matter. You're all individual, independent beings. Do whatever you want. And they did. So, but just as we're talking, that's like what they're telling me. These guys have not resolved the why of their experience, as to where these three have. They know it's a battle between good and evil. They know that how the world is set, these guys need, and also, as I was doing those 40 hours of listening to Alan Watt, I can't count how many parts were like, that's right. Oh, okay. Because I knew all this about Freemasonry, but the parts did not. And so by listening to, because they're now co-conscious or at a subconscious level, and they were listening, they're like, really? That's right. And I'm going, yeah, that's right. And they might have popped in and said, well, is that why such and such? And I go, yeah, yeah. So they were getting a 40 hours worth of education just about Freemasonry as I was doing Alan's thing. So it was really very, very interesting experience. And I think that's why they allowed me that time, because all of them, and I told all of you awake here, you 300 and whatever parts, please listen. Because that was a part of your experience, Freemasonry and abuse. And how does that tie in with how the world works? So I think probably once I have time to maybe focus on medical stuff or whatever, that these guys will, well, actually, right now they know that, oh, well, this doctor was a Freemasonic doctor, and now that we know all this Freemasonry stuff, well, of course we understand. And, I think probably they need to understand is how could mom not have seen or done something sooner? So
Honestly,
probably TED work will work that out.
there we go.
I don't think it's about information. I think it's about why weren't we protected? These guys know that they were protected by God and God loved them. And I think these guys they need to get past the how did mom allow this?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and, I even sometimes think, well, is Teal another guardian or a secondary backup? Why are you not going in the middle? Anyway, so maybe whatever she needs to work out, then these guys will relax too. But for now, I just have her, actually, I should see, because I haven't fully fleshed out, oops, the who's guardian and who's backup. I mean, I do and I don't.
You
It's
know,
still
Diana,
not
you're
100%
doing the
clear.
primary, the middle, the staggered. Um,
I have that in other
there you
places.
go. I was just thinking about the colors again. I think that'll really be invaluable
Yeah,
in
yeah,
each.
I've got to work it out with the
You know,
the,
like
the
you have nothing
backup
else to do.
color.
But it really just visually, left brain, right brain, it really then stands out that within each incident, you can see the flow of, okay, here was the primary that started, and then here the secondary, and then so it's very that color differentiation within the colors really
Mm-hmm.
does something.
Okay, so I don't this it's not opening. What is going on here? I will open I backed it up to my desktop. Let's see if it opens from there.
Yeah, talk about a personality study. Look at how organized your desktop is.
Well,
If
I
you
have to say
look at mine, it looks like a Rorschach test.
I generally have
Right.
nothing on my desktop, nothing. And I
Is that
back
right?
it up to three
That's
external hard drives, but because I can't do it with this computer,
oh, yeah, yeah.
why is it not? I thought I've got to have a backup somewhere. See, now it's not opening. Anyway, yeah, that's that. So we'll go back to here. 11:06, nothing happened. Not even baptisms. I think I was kind of mentally tired after doing all the Alan Watts stuff for 40 hours, and they're like, no, you go ahead and go to bed. It's like, okay, thanks.
Oh,
And then
that's
2 nights ago, or yeah, last night. No, this was 2 nights ago. Because Chris worked like geez, like a 16-hour day to drive, 3-hour drive one day, he didn't get home till 8 o'clock. He's relaxing, he shaves his head. He's got this, electric thing. And so anyway, he gets a call at like 9:30 and he's running out the door and he was worked till 2:30 in the morning. So he runs out the door and I decide to do one of our sessions and get it ready for YouTube or for posting. And so I didn't go to bed till 12:30. So I was kind of fried last night too. But this was night before last. So I just saw the profile of a girl placing a phone call on the on phone call and the phone was mounted to the wall. Mounted to the wall. So this is like the 70s or 80s.
yeah, yeah.
For some reason I want to think it's Angie, but it's not her. Then I just saw a face of another girl with long dark hair that was pleasant enough, and then it was pulled away, the face, and in the distance it morphed. So I think these were just people that I was interacting with that I could see their normal front personality, and then I could see when they were possessed or switching into their devil pre-pierce when and then as I keep getting hot as I'm trying to go to sleep, now suddenly my left thumb is hurting again. So this could be a part. I don't know if it's just random interactions as a child or what. And then next day, so this was yesterday, working on the emotional impact graphs. Oh, Felicity just told me that she goes in the group with Vance and Sandy. It was when she was watching TV. She started stuffing her face so she didn't have to feel. So Tammy and Felicity are closely tied. So watching TV and aimlessly eating are tied together. So I didn't get that till I was working on the, oh, where's that. So, and that's it for the journals. So I'll show you. Um, this is where Felicity used to just be white until yesterday. And I actually put this split between Tammy and Felicity because I thought, well, she hasn't revealed her subparts. And I realized yesterday, no, she's a part of this group and she's a guardian as well. Um, because after, the ritual and then the vomit with Jesus and all that, and then, my sister slapping me, I see mom, I go run out to meet her, and then, I get all, and then Sandy is super, super sad. And then mom walks us out to the car and we go back to the house, and now we're at the house. My sisters are lying again. And I have dinner, I have a nap and then dinner, and now I'm in front of the TV stuffing my face. So Felicity's saying, no, I wasn't independently created. I'm a part of this group. So, and she revealed so early on, she's one of the major guardians, but because
Yeah,
I've
that's right.
done so much TED work and I don't feel a need to stuff my face anymore
There you go.
with, a cake a week, you know, um, all this other stuff was able to reveal. And remember, again, Sandy used to be, down here somewhere. And she's like, no, this is where I go. So,
What's interesting, what you just said, Diana, then
mhm.
my
So there's
sense,
four guardians for this
there you
one
go. So
incident.
let me ask you, so Felicity, no doubt, is listening at this point. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So how does she think about, so here I'm processing her role. Okay, you think about the power of a you're just done a sadistic thing to a kid in the most outrageous way. So whether a regular rape victim or so we have an event that is beyond description, beyond comprehension, a kid has lived through, and now they're sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
right?
watch TV and pretend
Okay,
like
so
things are
a
normal.
case could be made then. So let me ask you, as you're connecting to her, I could almost see how, and this is not to downplay, right? It's just for me processing right now that for her to sit on that kind of trauma,
Stuff.
the the degree of strength that she has would put her in a way kind of close to Connor, because then she's keeping a lid on everything. So let's say you walk up to that child and you see the child staring.
Hmm.
Are you okay? Yeah. Okay, that means
She
Felicity
was,
was containing. Oh, I like that. There you go. She was,
She revealed before all the
there you
others.
go. So she's the very,
She was fatty, remember?
absolutely, I do. And so and so now thinking in terms of like the power and control to try to keep everything together, like Connor, my hunch is, so there are a number of those. So it's the after effect that's keeping a lid on. So with each of the, that'll be interesting. With
Oh,
each,
yeah, like
yeah,
here.
you have a similar part then that keeps the lid on everything. And my hunch is that, let's say, Felicity and Connor know one another a little closer. What do you think about what I just said?
Yeah, yeah, she's in total agreement. Yeah, I mean, because that, look at all those parts, just this
Yeah.
purple area.
She's keeping all that inside of her.
Yeah, she
She's
was
absorbing
the
the intent of all of it.
she was the earliest to reveal.
Okay,
Oh shit.
there you go.
Oh, dang it. It thinks it's a formula, so I can't use the dashes.
Well, the increased
The
font
size, yeah.
until you can figure out what you want to do with it.
Yeah, I did never thought about it until right now as you're talking to her. But yeah, she kept a lid on this whole thing. I mean, this is a big deal. And I almost wonder if these shouldn't be the same color, but this was in the basement of the lodge, and this was in the main floor.
Okay, I'd probably, okay, that now the parts are going to have a sense. Maybe even Felicity, she'll tell you, my sense is to honor the entire event, keep it the same color, but there's a
Yeah,
reason why you differentiate that. So maybe figure some, right? So within that event, that's a
because
kind
Sarah came before Vance did.
of,
Sarah came before Vance, so we'll make her a little bigger.
wow. Okay, you're on
And
to
then
something.
Felicity, make her even larger. So Sarah was first, and then Sandy showed up. So let me pull this out a little bit. See, there's so many. But yeah, Felicity was first, and then Sandy. So it was stuffing her face, and then sadness. And then all of a sudden, Sarah came along. And after Sarah, then Vance, and then all the rest. And like I said, Sandy and Felicity were actually, I thought they came from different time frames. Oops. But once all these little parts revealed, I realized, no, Sandy goes here. That was my first, despair about mom not listening to me, despair about not being able to get help, and my
Okay.
sister's lying. I thought this happened a couple, 3 years after the fact. And Sandy said, no, I go here. And that came from my journals. I don't know if you remember, but I said in there, so I think Sandy is younger than I first thought.
Mhm.
And then finally, after all this, a week later, and I just happened to look at it and I'm like, well, because it was the election. We were watching the election and I was having anxiety. And I thought, well, why am I having anxiety about this ridiculous election? It didn't hit me till the next day. Was that the parts were worried that if Kamala Harris got into office, that we would slide down the totalitarian slope even more.
Correct.
Now,
Right.
granted, they all know that I have reservations about Donald Trump, but they also know that things were better 4 years ago. I know that's the slogan and whatever, but they were. And they're also saying, well, John was talking about that Pentagon pedophile thing that Trump is actively working on. So they had a hope for Trump.
Yeah.
And they were and I was as I was sitting there watching lecture, I was eating potato chips
Yeah.
and I had a couple, three candies, and I'm like, what's going on here, guys? And so yesterday, as I was doing something else completely unrelated, Felicity goes, that's why I was eating because I go with TV. I go with TV. And then I remembered throughout my life after I'd get home from work and whatever frustrations there were, and they're just now telling me it has to do with the courier stuff. People would bring a note to me at work and I would pass notes. They had anxiety about that. So they'd come home, eat potato chips and drink soda. And if I didn't, monitor myself, I could go through half a bag of chips. So she's
So
saying TV, stuffing our face goes with TV, and we have a part called TV and fatty. I go with TV, is what she said. And I went, okay. And I did it right then, switched all the graphs. It was just one name, one part, took about 8 minutes, maybe not even that, maybe like 4. So I was like, oh, okay, great. Thanks. I didn't know that. Thanks for telling me. And that's all it took was for her to, be at that level. And now that, you're talking to her, she's like, yeah, that's right. So, and
so
it's funny because as Vance first revealed himself, see the names with the eyes,
yeah.
they came second. And they are secondary backups, not all the secondary backups, but a large group of them. Once the I names, the backups, once they revealed and had existence, then all the rest came, all the T names. Look at all those T names, and a couple of them were over here, not quite ready to reveal with this group of I's.
Okay,
So,
wait, describe that again. Okay, that because that's very interesting. Yeah, describe that again because you
well,
would,
when I go to the emotional impact and figure out, okay, are you a backup? Are you a trauma bonded? What are you? The first Vance showed himself, and then I remembered, oh yeah, or yeah, I remember running to mom's arms and the cold tile floor. I was in a daze in the car, or daze, and then in the car. And so I was like, oh, okay, so these names with the eyes came first.
okay, now there's something, we're
And
just
I
going to go,
realized that they were backups.
okay, so we're going to go with something intuitive here just for a moment. This will be interesting for everybody on the inside because as organized as you are, and hear this in a complimentary way, we're going to do right because if anybody's organized, you are. So we may have a right brain situation going here. So just as we're talking, you're talking about all the I's and then the
Hmm.
T's, but something is causing you to keep, we've got a misalignment. So there's something about this then. So we have all the I's right there, but you've got some T's. So could it
Yeah.
be?
It's
So,
like your chart, you say you have a primary backup protector
yeah,
and then a backup for that, and then
yeah,
you have a secondary backup protector and a backup for that.
yeah.
I can't distinguish between I can distinguish between primary and secondary, but not who their backups are.
Okay, so here's an
So as
interesting.
we're talking, I'm thinking that these two are probably backups for her.
How'd you? Okay, so that's going to be a weird thought. Should there be, now you're going to have an intuitive sense. Should there be, right? We'll just throw it out.
Should
So,
these
right,
be I names or not? But no, they revealed with these
or
guys.
can, I mean, whatever names they've chosen, but could it be that? So almost then within the left box where we have primary, secondary, should there almost be a fourth level?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because
I don't know
this
how
would
you
be the
view that.
first level. So yeah, because you only get 3 options.
That's what I, yeah. So how, unless, I wonder if you left justify it and move it over just with the space bar.
Oh, right.
I don't know. Does that, oh, okay. And then you differentiate it by color.
Oops, shoot.
right? So now you're going to have the reds, and so within that one, so really then now we have, instead of a staggering of three, we now have four, which speaks to the power, the heinous power of the event.
And
That
now
it,
my computer won't let it go to the left. See?
okay, Lord.
It'll go to the center and the
Okay,
right,
do you
but
want
not
to
the left.
do you want to just differentiate it right now by color?
Well, I think the letters do it for me, but I like this idea. Let's see if Indy,
You
see,
have some T's aligned with the I's. So that
yeah,
tells them, if you differentiate, keep the T, keep their name, but then differentiate them by color.
you look at that. It won't light up for me to do it. It'll let me move it to the right or the center, but not the left. These people that fuck with these computers. I don't know, anyway. Okay. Hey, wait, maybe I just need to save.
So instead of then, I guess we're talking three subpart, we've got four.
Yes. But
Okay.
see, your chart indicates
Who
five,
cares about my chart? We're breaking new ground.
five levels of, yeah. And see, so I have, just like I can't open the document I want to open up. All right, so it's saved now, and still it's not going there. All right, well, yeah, you're right. I would say that this would be the guardian. Sarah would be the primary
Are
backup.
you saying you can't color the font right now in the different cells?
Oh yeah, I probably can.
Just for the heck of it right now, so that as you're processing it right now and you go back and later on.
Okay, so I guess we'll leave the primaries red.
Okay.
The secondaries, orange won't show up, so maybe I'll do a bright green or something.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, the parts with the I names came before all the T's. And there's a lot of T's,
Okay, but then you
which is
have,
funny because you gotta be careful to dot your I's and cross your T's, right? I
oh,
wonder if
hold
this is
on.
where I learned that. I think I was three.
Oh, that's beautiful, right? That makes total sense. But again,
Yeah.
think in terms of, so along with the I's, you've got some T's right there. So,
Yes, that they were telling like I think because my obviously my front teeth are crooked, but when I put my thumb in there, it fits perfectly my teeth. That's why my teeth are that crooked from sucking my thumb.
yeah,
So I think the thumb sucking and the stuffing your mouth went together.
yeah,
Maybe mom wouldn't let me have a whole bag of chips and she just said suck your thumb. So, but Twyla, when I asked her when I was filling out the chart of are you a backup, your primary, whatever, she said I'm a backup, like a secondary backup. So maybe
so we, in a
go
perfect world, if
yellow.
you can ever do that, right, it would need to be a little bit of space for that stair step fashion going
Yeah,
on.
yeah, which my computer won't let me do.
No, I know, but you'll figure it out, right? But it's
But yeah, I know that. So yeah, the greens, it should, yeah, stair step, red, green, yellow, and then black
interesting. So now we've got four different levels.
of guardians for all the, and this filled in all the time frame, all of it. As to where before I had just,
Oh,
this
okay.
moment in time and this moment in time,
Okay.
this moment in time, and this one.
Okay. So let me ask.
And I
Okay.
have
So
each,
normally,
each block of time in between.
so the first sub level, or the next backups would be the I's, but then we have the T's. So we have Twyla and Tulip.
and Toby up here. That
Okay.
was Angie slapping me. I don't think I would have got this whole uh piece of the pie if I hadn't worked out other issues concerning Angie. Right, which I had worked on before with other things. So now they're like, yeah, and now that you know that Angie is really a narcissistic psychopath, trauma bonded to the perp still at 62 years old, now you'll be able to accept this, that she
Yeah.
slapped you, she made you stand up, she, you know, kicked you in the back, push with the foot. The whole thing, which I'm wondering if this shouldn't be there. But yeah, this was about Angie right here, these two parts, which I'm not sure about that yet. I'm just,
But does the eyes
I
come back?
didn't remember the slap until after I remembered her with her foot. But she didn't hurt me by pushing my back with her foot, but she did hurt me by slapping me. So that's the difference. Is this was just her disposition, as you said, but this was just blatant harming me.
Yeah.
He didn't care that I was traumatized. So yeah, I could see how this would be a backup protector for this whole thing here. Yeah, she took me all the way to the door. And once I saw mom, I got out from. So this is all Angie right there.
Do you want to highlight that in some sort of overlay?
Angie and Mary. Yeah, I'll just do that for now. See, if I'm gonna do this, I want to do it on a different form.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
since we're here and we're talking about it, actually, because I don't need that other stuff. We just happen to be there. This is where I start everything. This is names a new part checklist.
That's right.
Oh, come on, really? You're not gonna open?
Is it not opening?
No, no.
Okay,
So I
load.
guess I'll just have to do it here. So that's fine. Well, actually, Angie was involved here too, now that I think about it. She scattered with all the rest of them, didn't give a damn about me. And then she had to be told to get out there to help me. So yeah, I couldn't have gotten all of this without other work, which came from later in time, realizing that, oh, where is it? Where what's your name? Was it Ivory? Yeah, Ivory. Right, where I slipped on the ice and she didn't help me and the teacher, and then we were wrestling in my room
Yeah.
and didn't care. This is where I worked out the issues with Angie. Not all of them, but that's where I realized she was cold-hearted and didn't care. And then later, oh, so it's not that short of a time later. Then later, all this filled in about Angie that supported that time.
Can
They're
you
like,
shade
yeah, she is a bitch.
can you shade those boxes in a little differently and then go back to the black font?
Um,
But anyway, you can
I
do that.
guess, yeah, I want to keep their incident
Okay, yeah, yeah. No,
in the
you
same
leave it.
color because it helps me find
Yeah,
them.
there you go. There you go.
So I think changing font colors is probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, don't okay.
Yeah, so without these guys, oops,
I'll put that back.
I would have never gotten to here. I had to open up that lock
There we go.
and
There we
have
go.
that paradigm shift about Angie and Mary that yeah, you don't want to be around them anymore. You don't, they are still treating you the same way they did when you were this age, which was probably 5 or 6, and this when you were 3. Oh, it's 11:30, but I want to show you the graph. I'm so excited because I know you got a client right away.
Tremendous work though. And look at
So
what you're,
yeah, I put incidents in the white lines, which I'm thinking maybe they should be different color. This is the -10. I only took this to +10
okay,
instead
I
of
really, there we go. So
adding it and
we
coloring
got
it.
plus 10 minus 20. That really,
Yeah,
but good,
because I
good.
don't know what a +20 would be other than
No, there's
living
no
dot.
positive. As a matter of fact, here's ready. In my estimate, we don't have positive 20s. We have positive 10, which shows you the magnitude of the harm.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. But yeah, I was able to put in here just different little things. So this one doesn't have a whole lot on it. So 0 to 2. Here's 3 years old. Okay, we got incidents happening, trafficking, in between SRA, summer visits to grandma and grandpa's, there's trafficking going on. At 4, this is just grandma grandpa visit. This is the T's and the I's, the people we were just talking about, Sarah and Vance and Tiffany, Sandy. Yeah, see, Felicity is now a part of this group incident. So this was the ritual in the basement, the ritual, yeah, and the aftermath in the lodge, and this is leaving the lodge and going to the house, and then this is in the house
Diana, visually,
here.
it might, if you could try changing the lines to the very fine dot and try dark blue.
Oh, okay. Dark
And
blue.
then, the dotted line, but the really finest. Can you go even finer?
Oh, perhaps. Oh, because I have it at 5. I guess we'll make it a 2. How's that look?
There. Okay, now it's visually it's popping out.
So blue, a 2. Land, oh, blue, a 2, and
But
then
anyway, it's just a thought because now visually it's, or you can even, yeah, make it whatever size you think the dots that the
yeah,
smallest one
see, now this isn't wanting, it did it for the other line, but not this one.
and the smallest dots may be a little too small. So it may be that the size you have right there captures it, or maybe something in between. But visually, I think it pops out more than the white because it then really honors, it differentiates
Yeah,
those
yeah.
moments. There you go. There you go.
So we'll make it blue dots. Oh, well, that's way up high.
I like that.
Oh,
Okay.
I know why that was there because this incident. Okay. So that's just 2 incidents,
Okay, now it really stands out visually. It's very easy to see for the eye.
yeah, yeah. I didn't want to have, I'm glad you said use the blue because I didn't want to have two, like 5,000 colors because you get lost
Yeah, no,
in
that's right.
that too. Okay, cool. I'll do that. And then here's 5 years old. So I go to kindergarten and have positive experiences. Here's Angie and Mary and Dad abusing me at home. I, find a way to, put puzzles together, use my brain, have a swimming lesson. Oh, wait, I need to close that. Oh, come on now. I had this all set up so I wouldn't have to screw around
Okay, well, Lord, we need to have the
with
computer.
this and make it smaller. But anyway, have the swimming lesson, and all of a sudden my sister's, domestic satanic harassment in the water, which is what that, I couldn't think of what else to describe it as. And then, we go to my mom's father's funeral and they baptize me there. So now I'm 6. Unbelievable that this is doing this. So this is first grade. It's unbelievable. It's just so annoying. Now there's so much that went on in 6th grade. I had to break it up into 2 graphs,
There we
and
go.
it's still
Okay.
tiny. But this is the SRA aspect at Grandma and Grandpa's house. And you've got these different incidents. God, the wedding to Satan, and God hid me. And then mom decides to baptize me twice after that. And now dad's taking me to, doing MK Ultra crap in the basement. And then, this is the domestic abuse at the lake. And then he's trafficking me because we can't go to his parents for SRA anymore. Mom won't have it, you know. So he's now trafficking us going up into northern Wisconsin with other Satanists. And then 7 years old, I go to training camp. In 2nd grade, have all these different incidents occur as I'm, getting trained. This is where they decide to start making money on me. And I think it hit me when I did this that dad had to pay for all of this. So whatever, I think that's why he got a little bit of money because he had to pay off all of this. So now I have to go do SRA and
He
trafficking,
had
which
to
is,
he had to pay.
well, yeah,
Eh,
you don't get to just go to these places for free. I mean, obviously Jack wanted me there, but they don't give away anything for free. So like, okay, we're gonna train her for a year and then we're gonna use her for the next year. And then after that, maybe you'll start putting money in your pocket. But Dad did make some money, but I think probably 2/3 of it went in payment for the training I got. Because remember, he got paid off, he got drugs, cigarettes, he had some cash, but I think he was anticipating, okay, it's like borrowing for school, and now you got to pay the loan back. So I think that's where this whole, okay, she needs to start earning some money. We're gonna send her to these mansions. She's gonna put on shows. She's gonna murder or be made to kill people, etc.
But do
And
you think your
so
dad, so I'm sorry, so you're suggesting that, not suggest, but saying that once you were then in operation, do you think he got a percentage or a cut?
probably something, but he had to pay back the time I was there. I don't know how I know that or why I know that. I just do. Because this is the part called moneymaker. I didn't have an official job. I didn't make money. So why was I called moneymaker? I was his moneymaker. And I just got to thinking, they're not going to give away this type of training for free. It's an elite girls' school. Granted, you've got the other two levels of the socioeconomic people being trained to be their minions, and then the poor people who are being murdered or tortured or whatever. I honestly, when I put this in there yesterday, I realized, ah, he had to pay for that.
Okay, so thinking, and this is super helpful for me.
And
Uh,
because before that, he 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 met Jack over he met Jack here.
yeah,
This is oh I this is dark. Oh, see, you didn't get to see this. He met Jack here in the mob clubs and they were testing me. And we had more SRA, so I think and then I think I was continuously trafficked throughout this time. And Dad was getting advice from Jack. Now all of a sudden, Dad's got SRA cards in the basement and he's MK Ultraing me. Still now SRA trafficking to keep his parents happy. And now we're in training camp. So I think Jack provided him with this, or he relied on whatever he learned when he was in the military. But I'm more likely to believe that when Dad met Jack here, I was continued to be trafficked throughout this time because all this SRA is at Grandma and Grandpa's house. I still haven't filled in the blanks of Whitney, Sabina, and Eviana who were at the mobster clubs. So in the summer, we're at Grandma and Grandpa's with SRA, but for 3/4 of the year, or no, we're only there for 2 weeks at a time. So all the rest of the year, we're in Milwaukee, and Dad's taking me to these mob clubs from the age of 3, 4, 5, and now all of a sudden, instead of going to mob clubs, we're doing shit in the basement. He's MK Ultra me in the basement. So I think for those 3 years, Jack was guiding him, or maybe they bumped into each other once or twice a year or something. And Jack asked Dad, well, how are things going? What's happening? Whatever, through all of this time frame. And then now the official MK Ultra, more of this, the same of the other stuff. And now we're going to training camp after MK Ultra, going to back to Grant, and now training camp themselves is putting me in trafficking situations, which involves SRA.
So do you think once you entered into, so I'm just thinking in terms of the psychopath incentive.
Because remember, for this, there's 2 levels,
Yeah.
you know, for 6 years old, and then 7, I'm at training camp.
Yep.
And then 8 more training camp. I actually realized now I need to this was the dog, being forced to kill as a dog,
Yeah.
and then we go back into, so I guess this isn't really, that's not SRA. This is more training camp right here. Oops. And we gotta go here, here. I think I made these 18, 24, 20, 18 old, and then oh man, I think I made it that color, yeah. So more training camp stuff here. I'll pull that out. So yeah, training camp, SRA trafficking, except through training camp. So I should probably do this.
Oh, I like that. Okay, that's good. That's good.
And then this was, oh, same thing here. These were the shows, on stage with the
Yep.
guillotine and
Yep.
dang it. So trafficked through the
That's really
training
good.
camp.
That's really good. Because the shift then is to MK Ultra while the satanic stuff's still going on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There's that shift into the MK Ultra world Well,
Yeah,
the residual.
yeah. And then same here, I'll need to do an overlay of training camp because it all went through there.
There you go. There you go.
So center. Then I just leave that up there. Green. Ah, what happened? There we go. Okay. I need to pull. Oh, shoot. That should not have happened. No, see, it was doing this to me yesterday. It wants to format the plot area instead of the object. My computer's not working, but anyway, I will fix
Or do you want
this.
to just
I'll save it. Yeah.
copy and paste the red bar there
It
that you?
doesn't let me do that with a text
Oh, okay.
box. I can do it with an image, but not a text box.
I got it.
So, let's see, format object, maybe it will do it now. Okay, there we go. So yeah, all of this was through training camp. And so then I added this was the different shows. This was the spirit cooking and the butcher shop. And then I go home and I start manipulating my mom and getting her jealous, flirting with my dad. And now I'm going to Camp David, being trafficked to Nixon and his minions. And then, are you going to close yet? No. So now 10 and 11, I put them both on the same page, even though this is all 10 years old. I think this will fill in more. Or maybe it was just like the age 10 and a half to 11 and a half, or whatever, fifth and sixth grade, because this is the I should put divorce on here,
Yeah.
divorce and separation. But it was still School Sisters of Notre Dame. So now I'm going into this dumb, having the MK Ultra
Oh,
done
I
in
just
the
thought of something.
deprivation tank, and then I'm slave labor when I'm not doing this.
Okay, I just thought of something. Does this resonate? Because the name School Sisters of Notre, it doesn't make sense in a way. How about SS?
I know, the SS of Notre Dame. I know,
That
I
makes
thought of that
sense.
too. Yeah.
That makes sense.
hmm The
I
SS
wonder,
of the Catholic Church.
yeah. So I wonder, did they have a logo? Do you remember a logo? I wonder if they had the SS for School Sisters. Did it look like the Nazi symbol for the SS?
Oh, sisters, logo. Let's see what comes up.
And then you wonder, were any of these perps stationed were they overseeing what was going on in France?
No, I don't see a logo, just this Notre Dame School of Manhattan. So that's images. Let's see. School Sisters of Notre Dame, Wikipedia. There it is.
Huh,
Which, if you roll this on its side, it's an 8, which
yeah.
is the symbol of money and power. I just learned this, or relearned it listening to Alan Watts talks. The number 8 is as above, so below. So if you're as above as Lucifer above, you're going to bring Lucifer below. But 8 is also the number for money and power,
That also looks like
overlaying a cross,
it
and an
also
M for masonry.
okay. It looks like a scope, a gun sight scope.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah, looking through it. Yeah. Wow. Actually, I think I will. take an image of this.
But see, the name has always seemed strange. School Sisters, so it gotta be SS
Yeah. So
because
six.
everything they were doing to you guys included, the Nazi Mr. John has his German Shepherd, and where
Yeah.
he shot your friend in the head. That's it, right. That's the Nazi thing.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I probably need to I'll overlay that. And then, okay, so mom's getting divorced. I had just been to Camp David, so they gotta really wipe my memory. And while I'm not having my memory wiped, well, why not use me for slave labor? And then I go to high school in junior high in Iowa. They ensure that the SRA continues, pop their head in for a little MK Ultra. My sisters are harassing me. Now I go to 14 to 17, I start working,
And can you
partying.
go back? I'm sorry for interrupting one more time.
No,
Uh,
that's okay.
the joint custody was lasting for how long?
Just a year and a half. Because once we moved to Iowa, um, he took no, he didn't come visit us ever. We only talked to him on the phone once or
Because the
twice.
cash stopped. He lost cash at that point.
Probably, yeah.
So
He,
he was,
he
I'm,
never came to see us in Iowa. Once mom left Wisconsin, that was it.
yeah,
Never saw him again until I went to reach out to him to
yeah,
heal. And he gives me a bag of matchbooks.
of course he did to try to trigger you. Uh,
Yeah,
so you
so
were, you
this
were
is
an
no
invest.
more influence of my dad or SSND.
That's right. So you were an investment. He wanted to return. He was going to get a monthly stipend. But when everything
Something.
went south, that's why he was going to stop your mother because you represent cash to him.
And
And
maybe
once,
that's why he didn't have any money later because he still had to continue to pay them. I mean, maybe the cost of me going there was $100,000. Who knows? I'm sure it wasn't cheap.
interesting. But once Jack had you, your dad's expendable anyways. So Jack now has you, mission accomplished. Uh,
Exactly. He gets the satanic influence in that little town going with that family, my quote unquote friend's family. Then I go to the dentist, or no, the dentist is later. He has me do that, kill that handicap boy.
yeah.
And then my sisters are harassing me in my room. I start work, partying. I go to the dentist for braces. I get another MK Ultra shot. At this job, we have the work accident. The town ostracizes me. My sisters have me do cocaine for my 18th birthday. Then I join the army, party girl, adventure girl. I believe Aaliyah told me to, this is where I was mountain climbing and all that and doing stuff outside. And I think because I was in nature, I got the vibe of Jesus. They said Jesus was there. I don't remember how or why or what happened. I just remember doing some rock climbing and I did it well. And my trafficking boyfriend was there with me, but I think Jesus saved me from something, and I don't know what that is. So that'll flesh itself out in time. And then the Army SRA, so trafficked by the Army to my first sergeant, his officers out in the field, then the big dudes at the officers club. And then, my boyfriend traffics me to those three different homes. And now I'm going to Himmler's castle. And then they send me to El Paso, where they do a forced abortion. I picked this picture because it was paper being torn. So I thought it was the baby being torn out. And then they electrocute me, waterboard me, I have the chimera incidents, and then I get out of there and the new age begins. So, I start working in the crystal shop. I have that, God dries my car out for me and I get scared. I forget what rain is. Rain, 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 rain. Rain. Oh, it's Reiki. I learned do the Reiki stuff. Then I get a spirit guide. But she makes me change my name, do Reiki. I get a spirit guide. We do astral projection. I think the spirit guide goes with the astral projection. I don't know how or why, but when
Oh,
I
no, that's
put this on there, they said Jade's a part of the astral projection. And then she traffics me to that rich lady where there's SRA, but I'm also doing astral projection on the mother. These were the grandchildren, but I'm astral projecting on the mother. So I leave Texas, try to hide, and then I do drugs. I finally get a job, leave this guy, get a job, and I'm a courier now. I get my cats. That was a good thing. My intuition kicks into gear. I have an abortion, more SRA, another abortion. I get raped by the Buddhist monk dude who convinces me to start chanting. That river comes down into me, and then, I'm chanting more, and I call a demon to myself.
right.
So, and then I have the dream where the baptism occurs, and Jesus shows me stuff. You know, and now I go to Milwaukee and I have another abortion. This was a guy who lived upstairs. We're kind of boyfriend, girlfriend. I go get a better job. I go back to Dallas, get a better job. I'm a courier again. I'm rollerblading. I get raped, get another job where I'm a courier again, but they're also sending me out on assassinations. I should put that instead of assignments
Yeah.
of like mid to low level business people, or maybe mid-level business people. I just remember it was in seedy parts of town, so maybe they were mid-level criminals. I get raped again. So Scientology is introduced. I get raped, going on assignments, raped again. I leave all that, go to Target. I'm a courier again. Leave that, start my own business, these two parts. Scientology kind of drops by the wayside. And then I meet Chris. And then we have the triggers going on. I get a job in an office. I become a stepmom, more triggers. I discover Alan Watt, more triggers. We get married. I have, another pet, I get to decorate and do things because I now have a husband and a home and money. A couple more triggers. Finally, I start doing my nails, riding a bicycle. Dixie comes along, which I consider a gift from God. Then COVID hits. And then COVID goes away and things get better. I get baptized. I meet you. And then Ted comes along, and then I remembered
Really.
Rose, because Rose, I don't know if she should go in the area where the time frame of the abortion, but she didn't, because she didn't exist until I remembered her, which was here. So Rose might go earlier in time, but so is that visually more of a story?
Yes, absolutely. And that was
But
outstanding.
yeah, the military blocking all this out like this. I should put US Army logo in here too.
And when you can get a whiteboard effect for you to take screenshots or something, put all these together in one long timeline, it really is gonna
Yes, I
stand out.
agree
Because
totally.
then it's just then it's continuous.
Yeah,
It's
so
phenomenal.
that's a little better.
Well, excellent work. Excellent work.
Oh yeah, it's 12. You got to get going. Thank you. So I probably spent, I don't know, 6 hours doing this. And
It
I'm
showed.
blown away that I said prayers over my computer. I probably should do it again. But I don't know why it won't open up on my hard drive because I just did this from the desktop.
Well, let's pray about it right now as well.
Okay.
Then,
Oh,
let
wait,
me-
let me stop
yeah.
share. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, let me pray about this. Lord, we do pray that right now for Diana's computer and the technology. Lord, oversee this, protect it, prevent anybody or anything from messing around with it. Lord, thank you for the work that she is doing. Continue to give her wisdom and insight. Thank you for all the parts that are willing to step forward and risk initially stepping forward and now also contributing because they are ultimately the experts. They this is their story. So Lord, thank you that you're going to use this. Thank you that you are already using Diana and all the parts to help that same process happen in the lives of other clients that I have. So continue to give her that sense of that your hand upon her, your protective hand is helping her put this together. And this will be a resource, as she herself said, that the stuff out there is okay, but it just doesn't take things to the extent that she now and all the parts that they are revealing and they're discovering. So continue to give them that sense that this is what's going to help set so many free. So thank you for her diligence and her willingness to apply herself, and just continue to keep your strong angels round about her and also Chris. Lord, and continue your work in Chris's life. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you. All
Excellent job.
right. Well, I'll let you run. Thank you for your insights and because I hadn't thought about some of that stuff, so that's helpful. I'll try to reflect it in my stuff. Yeah. All right. God bless you.
Okay,
Talk
we'll plan on next week,
Tuesday.
but keep those cards and letters coming.
All righty. Okay. Bye. Lord of Lords, King of Kings. Alleluia. Glory, glory, great majesty. Alleluia.